addition to that, we have to train our children in the skilled trades. Now, this is coming from a college professor, but all of our children aren't necessarily going to go to college. And I have a problem with the fact that when many of us do go to college, we come out 5 and 6 figures in debt. Ashe? So that's a problem. So I always advise high school students when I'm called upon to speak to them, and even college students, to learn a specific skill or trade. You don't have to wait until you're in your 20s to do that. Children can learn that at a very young age. So whether that's barbering and cosmetology, whether that's auto mechanics, whether that's electrical work, whether that's STEM work, working on computers and different things of that nature, our children need to be taught those skilled trades. They also need to be taught the skill of investing, which I know the Black Business School is big on. How to handle money, financial management, and financial literacy. So these are just a few of the things. And then one thing that I would add to this, there needs to be an appropriation for protection. So for example, when we came out of the Civil War, we didn't receive reparations, but there were some different governmental programs where the military provided protection to blacks in the South for several years, okay? One thing we've learned as black people is that we must protect what we have produced and defend what we have developed. Nobody's gonna do that for us. If you weren't clear about that before 2020, the uprisings in 2020 should have shown you that. So we have to make the demand that we, begin to organize to be able to protect and defend our own communities, and that self-defense and personal protection should be a part of every educational plan, teaching our children those skills in school as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Clap for that, please. So, Ms. Arundel, I'll start with you, and I'd like to hear both of your responses on this. As we follow, it's so interesting when you see a lot of people trying to do the same thing, but the movements get splintered over really a bunch of nonsense. And we've seen this, right? We had ADOS, FBA, B1. To me, it's kind of the same. Like, why in the world would there be a splintering? But it's happened. It can occur. And I'm not participating in that stuff. I think it's silly. But one thing that's interesting is I know both of you have a lot of respect for the continent of Africa and the need for us to understand and appreciate that connection. I assume we all agree on that. However, there are individuals that maybe have this perception that that difference between African Americans and African people can be utilized as a tool of oppression, right? Because we know the examples of some people who come from other countries that have a false perception of African Americans and say, oh, let's stay away from those people, right? But then that's not everybody. We know that that's not everybody.